My parents gave my $1 million dream house to my brother 3 days before closing. They did it while I was standing in the model kitchen, holding the folder with my loan approval, inspection reports, deposit receipt, and the little gold keychain the realtor had given me as a joke. Future homeowner. That was what the keychain said. Future homeowner. I had carried it in my purse for 6 months like a tiny promise. And now my mother was standing beside the marble island, smiling at my brother's wife, saying, "Don't worry, sweetheart. Once the papers are adjusted, this will be your family home. Your family home. Not mine. Not the house I had worked 13 years to afford. Not the house I had chosen after losing 3 bidding wars, saving through 2 jobs, skipping vacations, eating cheap meals, driving an old car, and listening to everyone tell me I was doing too much for a woman living alone. No. Now it was Marcus's family home. My younger brother stood near the patio doors with his hands in his pockets, looking around the open-plan living room like he had already decided where his television would go. His wife, Tasha, was touching the cabinets, nodding like a queen inspecting property. My father stood by the window, avoiding my eyes. That was how I knew this had gone far beyond a casual conversation. My father only avoided my eyes when he had already agreed to something shameful. The realtor, Mrs. Daniels, looked confused. She had opened the house for what I thought was a final walkthrough before closing. She had expected me, my parents, and maybe my contractor friend who wanted to check the deck one more time. She had not expected my whole family to walk in discussing furniture, school zones, nursery colors, and how soon Marcus could move. I stood there listening. Quiet. Too quiet. My name is Serena Cole. I was 37 years old. Single. No children. And apparently, in my family, that meant every dream I built was still available for redistribution. My mother, Patricia, turned and finally noticed my face. "Oh, Serena, don't look like that." Like that. As if my expression was the problem. As if betrayal had a proper facial dress code. I looked at her. "Mom, what is happening?" She sighed, already tired of explaining a theft she had not even finished committing. "We are trying to do what makes sense." "What makes sense?" She placed a hand on Tasha's shoulder. "Marcus and Tasha need this house more." I stared at her. Need. That word again. In my family, need was a magic word that always opened my wallet, my schedule, my patience, and now apparently my closing documents. Marcus needed tuition help. Marcus needed rent money. Marcus needed a car. Marcus needed business capital. Marcus needed time to grow up. Marcus needed grace. Serena was strong. Serena could wait. Serena would understand. Serena always landed on her feet. People forget that landing on your feet still hurts when you have been pushed enough times. I looked at Marcus. "You knew about this?" He lifted both hands slightly. "Serena, don't make it dramatic." I laughed once. It came out dry. "Dramatic? I'm 3 days from closing on my house, and you're standing in it discussing your furniture." Tasha folded her arms. "It's not like you have children who need rooms." Mrs. Daniels inhaled sharply. My mother gave Tasha a warning look, not because she disagreed, but because Tasha had said the quiet part too early. I turned to Tasha. "No, I just have money, paperwork, and a legally accepted offer." My father finally spoke. "Serena, let's talk calmly." I faced him. "Good. Start by explaining why they think this house is theirs." He rubbed his forehead. "Your mother and I spoke with Marcus. The down payment support we gave you." I cut him off. "You did not give me down payment support." My mother's face tightened. "Serena." "No. Say it correctly. You loaned me $25,000 2 years ago for my business when I was short on payroll after Dad asked me to hire Marcus. I paid you back in full with interest. That money has nothing to do with this house." Marcus looked away. Tasha looked at him quickly. Interesting. She did not know that part. My mother pressed her lips together. "That is not the point. It is exactly the point when you are trying to rewrite money to take property." My father's voice hardened. "You should watch your tone." And there it was. The parent voice. The old voice. the one that expected obedience before fairness. I looked around the kitchen. White cabinets, gold handles, wide windows, the breakfast nook where I had imagined drinking coffee, the backyard where I planned to plant lemon trees, the spare room I wanted to turn into a small office, the guest room I had promised myself would be for friends, not relatives who overstayed. The house was not just expensive. It was mine in my mind already. I had walked through it at night in my dreams. I had chosen curtains. I had measured rugs. I had imagined peace. And now my family stood inside that peace, dragging in the same old entitlement. How exactly were the papers going to be adjusted? I asked. My mother hesitated. Marcus cleared his throat. Tasha looked down at the floor. My father sighed. Marcus has a friend at the title office. The room became still. Mrs. Daniels' eyes widened. I turned slowly to my father. What did you just say? He realized too late that he had said more than he meant to. I mean, he knows someone who can advise us. No, I said. You said title office. Marcus stepped forward. Serena, calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. What friend? It's not like that. What friend, Marcus? His jaw tightened. Brian, from college. I knew Brian. Not well. Enough. He worked for Coastal Title and Escrow, the company handling the closing. My skin went cold. Mrs. Daniels stepped forward. Mr. Cole, are you saying someone at the title office discussed this transaction with you? Marcus's face changed. He had forgotten she was there as a professional witness. No, not discussed. Just general advice. About my accepted purchase? I asked. He looked at me. For family planning. Family planning. I almost smiled because sometimes lies become so stupid they embarrass themselves. My mother tried to soften her voice. Serena, nobody is trying to hurt you. No, you are trying to take my house before I legally own it. There is a difference. Tasha scoffed. You're acting like we're strangers. This is your brother. I looked at her. A stranger would have offered above asking. Her face twisted. Marcus raised his voice. You know what? Maybe Mom is right. You are selfish. This house is too big for you. 4 bedrooms, a pool, a finished basement, that backyard. For what? So you can sit alone and feel successful? The words hit harder than I wanted them to. Not because I believed him, because he sounded so certain. Like my solitude made my dream less legitimate. Like a woman without children must justify square footage. Like peace was wasteful unless a family of 5 was using it. My mother added softly, Baby, Marcus has 2 children and another one coming. They are stuck in that rental. The schools here are excellent. You can find another house. Another house. As if I had picked this one like shoes. As if I had not stretched every number. As if I had not sat in my car outside it after the inspection and cried because for the first time in my life, I could almost see myself resting. I turned to Mrs. Daniels. Has anything changed with closing? She looked shaken but professional. Not to my knowledge. You are still the buyer under contract. But Serena, after what I just heard, I strongly recommend you speak with your attorney immediately. My mother flinched. Attorney? Why are we bringing lawyers into family? I looked at her. Because family brought a title office into theft. My father pointed at me. Enough! No, I said, not enough, not this time. Marcus laughed bitterly. What are you going to do, sue your own parents? I looked at him, then at my mother, then at my father, then at Tasha, who still had her fingers on my cabinet like possession could be absorbed through touch. I am going to close on my house, I said, and then I am going to find out exactly what your real plan was before closing. My mother's face changed. Just a flicker. But I saw it. Fear. Not guilt. Fear. That was when I knew the house was not the whole plan. There was something else. Something behind the family speech. Something behind Marcus's sudden confidence. 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 I picked up my folder. Everyone out. Marcus laughed. You can't kick us out. It's not even yours yet. Mrs. Daniels stepped forward. It is under contract with Ms. Cole, and I am the authorized agent present today. I am asking all non-buyer parties to leave. I loved that woman in that moment. Tasha rolled her eyes. My mother began crying. My father muttered that I had become Americanized by money, which made no sense because we were all American. But families love meaningless insults when the truthful ones are unavailable. They left slowly, angrily. Marcus turned at the door. You'll regret choosing a house over family. I looked at him. No, Marcus. I will regret letting family step inside without boundaries. After they left, I stood in the empty kitchen and finally let my hands shake. Mrs. Daniels closed the door gently. Serena, she said, do you have a real estate attorney? Yes. Call her now. So I did. And that phone call saved everything. Before I continue, tell me where you are watching from tonight. And if you have ever caught the real plan just before someone turned your dream into their opportunity, stay with me. Because sometimes the problem is not that your family wants your house. Sometimes the problem is what they plan to do with it after taking your name off the paper. My lawyer's name was Denise Hart. Not soft Denise. Not sweet Denise. Legal Denise. She had helped me structure my business contracts years earlier after I learned the hard way that verbal promises are where users go to hide. When I called her from the driveway of my almost house, she answered on the second ring. Serena? Do you have time? For you? Yes. Why do you sound like you're standing over a body? Because my family just tried to give my house to Marcus. Silence. Then she said, start from the beginning. Slowly. I told her everything. The walkthrough. My mother's announcement. Marcus's friend at the title office. The strange claim about down payment support. The pressure. The children. The school zone. The comment about adjusting papers. Denise did not interrupt until I finished. Then she said, do not communicate with your family except in writing. Do not sign anything new. Send me copies of every closing document now. I am contacting the title company's compliance officer. My stomach dropped. You think it's serious? I think people who mention title offices while discussing property theft deserve the courtesy of being believed. That was Denise. Elegant with a blade underneath. I sent everything from my car. Then I drove home, locked my apartment door, and sat on the floor because chairs felt too normal for the kind of betrayal moving through my chest. My apartment was small, clean, temporary. Boxes already stacked against the wall. Kitchen half-packed. Books labeled. Clothes sorted. On my fridge, I had taped a photo of the dream house from the listing. Every morning, I looked at it while making coffee and told myself, almost. Almost had carried me for months. Now almost had become dangerous. I barely slept that night. Messages came nonstop. My mother. Serena, you embarrassed us in front of that realtor. Marcus. You're really going nuclear over a house you don't even need? Tasha. I hope you feel good taking stability from children. My father. Call me. This has gone too far. I answered none of them. By noon the next day, Denise called. Her voice was calm. Too calm. I need you to come to my office. What happened? Just come. That is never a good sentence. I drove with my heart in my throat. Denise was waiting in her conference room with another woman I did not know. Tall, glasses, gray suit, tablet open. This is Maribel Stone, Denise said. She is a title fraud investigator I trust. Fraud. The word landed heavy. Maribel nodded. Ms. Cole, your attorney asked me to review preliminary title communication logs. There are irregularities. I sat down slowly. What kind? Denise slid papers across the table. There was an unauthorized inquiry into your file from an employee named Brian Keller, Marcus's friend. My mouth went dry. Maribel continued. He accessed your file multiple times over the last 2 weeks. He also attempted to upload a request for an amended vesting structure. I don't know what that means, Denise explained. It means someone tried to create a path for the deed to be prepared differently. Differently how? She looked me in the eye. To include your brother as a co-owner. The room seemed to move. I gripped the table. But I never approved that. Correct, Denise said, which is why the system flagged it. Maribel tapped the screen. It appears Mr. Keller did not complete the change because final buyer authorization was missing. But there is more. Of course there was. There is always more when betrayal has had time to organize. Maribel continued. There was also communication with a private lender. A lender? Denise's jaw tightened. Marcus appears to have been exploring a short-term equity loan against the property after closing. I stared at her. But he wouldn't own it. Not unless his name got onto the deed. My mind started connecting pieces. Marcus wanted the house. Tasha wanted the school district and status. My parents wanted me to understand. But a lender? Equity loan? No. This was not about moving in. This was about using my dream house as collateral. I whispered. What was the loan for? Denise handed me another document. It was an email Maribel had obtained through a compliance contact. Redacted in parts, but clear enough. Marcus had been trying to secure a business loan to purchase into a luxury short-term rental development scheme. He needed collateral. His credit was weak. His apartment lease was ending. His wife was pregnant. He had told the lender he would soon have partial ownership in a $1 million property. My property. The plan hit me so hard I had to stand. They were not just going to move into my dream house. They were going to attach debt to it. Risk it. Maybe lose it. Then tell me it was for family. Denise's voice softened. Serena, breathe. I turned toward the window. Outside, people walked past the office carrying coffee, bags, lunchboxes, ordinary lives. Inside, I was discovering that my family had almost turned my future into my brother's collateral. Maribel continued gently. We have enough to stop any improper title change. The company has locked your file. Brian Keller has been suspended pending investigation. Closing can still proceed if you choose, with additional safeguards. If I choose? Denise looked at me. You can walk away. The words hurt. Walk away. Lose the house. Lose the months. Lose the dream, because my family had poisoned it. For a moment, I thought maybe I should. Maybe the house would always carry this stain. Maybe peace cannot grow where betrayal tried to sign papers. Then I remembered Marcus touching the patio doors like he had already won. Tasha touching my cabinets. My mother saying, your family home. My father saying, title office. And something in me straightened. No, I said. I am closing. Denise smiled slightly. I hoped you'd say that. But I want it locked down. No one touches it. No one claims it. No one enters without my approval. Maribel nodded. That can be done. Denise leaned forward. And Serena? Yes? After closing, we should talk about your family's access to your finances. I laughed bitterly. What access? She gave me a look. The kind lawyers give when they already know the answer will annoy you. Let's review your recurring payments. That was how I learned the house was only the loudest theft, not the first. For years, I had been funding my family without calling it that. My parents' health insurance gap, Marcus's rent emergencies, Tasha's baby shower, Marcus's car repair, my nephew's school fees. My mother's credit card, just this once. My father's business tax issue, groceries, utilities, medical bills, birthday gifts I was told to buy from everyone. Every month, some crisis arrived wearing a family face. I paid because I could. Then because I was expected to. Then because saying no produced more exhaustion than sending money. Denise helped me pull the numbers. In 8 years, I had given them over $490,000, almost $500,000. And still, they wanted the house. Need has no bottom when entitlement is the bucket. The next day, I received a message from my mother. We need to talk before closing. There are things you don't understand. I stared at it for a long time, then typed, put it in writing. She did not reply. Marcus did. You got Brian in trouble? Are you insane? I smiled. There it was. Proof. I sent it to Denise. She replied, "Excellent. Keep letting him type." He did. For an hour. He called me selfish, greedy, vindictive. Said Brian was only helping family. Said I did not understand how title worked. Said I had no right to destroy his friend's career. Then one message arrived that changed my anger into ice. "I was going to pay you back once the rental project started making money. You wouldn't have lost anything." There it was. The confession. I forwarded it. Denise replied with one word. Beautiful. Legal people are strange. Closing day came like a storm wearing perfume. I woke early. Dressed carefully. Navy suit. White blouse. My grandmother's earrings. Not because anyone in the title office cared. Because I wanted to meet my dream with respect. Denise came with me. Mrs. Daniels came too. Maribel attended remotely. The title company had assigned a senior officer and a compliance manager. Everything was checked twice. My ID, my signatures, my vesting, my wire confirmation, my authorization. Nobody named Marcus entered any document. At 11:42 a.m., I signed the final paper. At 12:09 p.m., the transaction recorded. At 12:16 p.m., Mrs. Daniels handed me the keys. Real keys. Not the joke keychain. Not future homeowner. Homeowner. I held them in my palm and cried right there in the conference room. Not pretty tears. Not movie tears. The kind that come when your body finally believes it did not lose the thing it fought for. Denise hugged me. Mrs. Daniels hugged me. Even the compliance manager looked emotional, though he pretended to adjust paperwork. My phone rang as I walked out. Mom, I did not answer. Dad, I did not answer. Marcus, I definitely did not answer. Instead, I drove to my house. My house. The street looked brighter than before. The trees seemed taller. The driveway curved gently toward the front porch. I parked, sat in the car, and whispered mine. Then I stepped out and unlocked the door. The house was empty, clean, quiet, waiting. I walked barefoot through every room. Kitchen, living room, office, primary bedroom, guest rooms, basement, back deck, yard. I touched the walls like greeting someone who had survived with me. Then I changed the locks. Same day. All of them. New smart system. New codes. Security cameras. No spare keys. Not one. That evening, my parents came. Of course they did. They arrived with Marcus and Tasha in 2 cars, carrying the confidence of people who thought reality could still be negotiated if they arrived dramatically enough. They rang the bell. I watched from the security camera. My mother wore sunglasses, though the sun was setting. My father looked stern. Marcus looked furious. Tasha held her belly like a courtroom exhibit. I answered through the speaker. "What do you need?" My mother looked shocked. "Serena, open the door." "No, we are your parents. You were my parents when you tried to put Marcus on my deed too." My father looked toward the camera sharply. "That is not what happened. Dad, do not lie on a recorded system." He closed his mouth. Marcus stepped forward. "You think cameras make you powerful?" "No, ownership does." Tasha shook her head. "You are really keeping children out? The children are not here. That's not the point. It never is when you use them." My mother's voice cracked. "Serena, please. We need to explain. You had months to explain. You chose secret title access and a lender." My father looked at Marcus. Marcus glared back. "Ah, so my father did not know all of it. Interesting." I continued. Marcus was not only planning to move in, he was planning to use the house as collateral for a rental development loan. My mother turned slowly toward Marcus. "What?" Tasha's face tightened. Marcus lifted his hands. I had a plan. My father's voice was low. "Marcus." I almost opened the door just to watch the family meeting unfold, but I had promised myself peace. So I spoke clearly. Here is what happens now. No one enters my home. No one discusses ownership. No one contacts the title company, realtor, lender, or any party connected to this property. If anyone tries, Denise Hart will handle it legally. My mother looked back at the camera, tears forming. Baby, don't do this. I did not do this. I caught it. Marcus shouted. You always think you're better than us. No, Marcus. I think I bought a house you tried to steal. You weren't even going to live in all of it. That old argument. Space. Children. Need. I felt tired suddenly. Deeply tired. I am done, I said. My father stepped closer. Serena, wait. For what? He looked older. Not sorry enough, but older. I did not know about the loan. But you knew about the deed. His face fell. That was answer enough. I knew your mother wanted to help Marcus, he said. Help Marcus with my house. He looked down. Yes. And you went along. Silence. Yes, he whispered. My mother began crying harder. I did not soften. Not then. Leave, I said. Nobody moved. So I added, or I will call security. That did it. They left. Not quietly, not gracefully, but they left. I stood behind my new front door, hands shaking, heart pounding, and listened until their cars disappeared. Then I walked to the kitchen, sat on the floor, and cried again. Owning the house did not stop the hurt. That is something people do not understand. Winning does not make betrayal painless. Sometimes winning only gives you a safe room to break down in. The weeks that followed were ugly. Marcus's friend lost his job at the title company. Marcus blamed me. Tasha posted vague messages about family members who worship property. My mother told relatives I had misunderstood paperwork. My father said very little. Aunties called. Cousins texted. People who had never contributed $1 to my deposit suddenly had strong opinions about generosity. I answered once in the family group chat. For clarity, I purchased my home with my money and mortgage. Marcus attempted to insert himself into my title paperwork through an unauthorized contact and planned to use the house as collateral for his own business loan. I have documentation. I will not discuss this again. The group went silent. Then Aunt Linda replied, Oh. That "oh" gave me more satisfaction than it should have. I stopped all financial support immediately. No more school fee assistance unless paid directly to the school through a protected account. No more rent help. No more emergency transfers. No more credit card rescue. No more just until Friday. My mother called it cruel. Denise called it closing the leak. I liked Denise's version better. At first I thought cutting them off would make me feel powerful. It mostly made me feel sad. My mother did not call to ask how I was. She called to say the pharmacy card declined. Marcus did not apologize. He sent a spreadsheet trying to prove his rental project would have worked. My father finally came alone after 6 weeks. He did not come to the house. He asked to meet at a cafe. That mattered. Small, but mattered. I arrived 10 minutes late on purpose, not to be petty, to remind myself I was not rushing to emotional court anymore. He stood when I came in. He looked exhausted. Serena, Dad. We sat. For a while, he stared at his hands. Then he said, I was wrong. I waited. The old me would have rescued him. Said it was okay. Made the apology easier. The new me let silence do its work. He continued, I knew your mother wanted Marcus to have the house, and I told myself it made sense because he had children. I told myself you were strong enough to adjust. I did not know about the loan, but I knew enough to stop it earlier. I didn't. My throat tightened. Why? He looked at me. Because Marcus's disappointment has always scared your mother more than yours. The sentence landed like a stone. Not because I did not know, because hearing it said aloud by my father finally made the childhood wound visible. And you? I asked. He swallowed. I let her manage the house by managing you. My eyes filled. He wiped his face quickly. I am sorry. For that. For the deed. For using family language to make theft sound kind. For acting like your life had less weight because you don't have children. For all the years we took help and called it love. Tears ran down my face. I hated crying in public, but some tears are receipts too. I needed you to protect me, I said. He nodded, crying now. I know. You protected Marcus's wants. I know. And Mom's comfort. Yes. And the family image. Yes. But not me. He covered his mouth. No, he whispered. Not enough. That was the first honest conversation we had ever had. Not pleasant. Honest. He did not ask for money. He did not ask to visit. He did not ask me to forgive Marcus. He only apologized. So I believed part of it. Not all. Trust does not return in one sitting. My mother took longer. She tried every door before truth. Guilt. Tears. Silent treatment. Relatives. A health scare that turned out to be high blood pressure after she stopped taking medication properly. I paid the pharmacy directly once because I am not heartless, but I did not restart allowances. Finally, 3 months after closing, she came to the cafe near my office. She looked smaller without her performance. I don't know how to apologize without defending myself, she said. That was a start. Try anyway, I said. She laughed weakly. Then cried. I wanted Marcus to have the house. I know. I thought because you were alone, you could start again more easily. My chest ached. Mom, I am not a draft version of a person because I don't have a husband or children. She cried harder. I know, or I am learning. No, you need to know. She nodded. I was jealous too. That surprised me. Of me? Yes, of your freedom, your discipline, the way you build things without asking permission. I told myself you were lonely because it made me feel better about wanting what you had. That honesty was painful but clean. She continued. I am sorry for trying to give your dream to Marcus. I am sorry for using his children to make it sound holy. I am sorry for ignoring how hard you worked, and I am sorry for teaching you that being strong meant being available. I cried then. She reached for my hand. I let her hold it. Only for a moment. Not because everything was fixed. Because I wanted to. Marcus did not apologize for almost a year. His rental project collapsed without collateral. Tasha was furious. Brian stopped speaking to him. Their finances became difficult because the fantasy had been built on my property. For months, Marcus called me bitter. Then proud. Then dead to him. I did not chase him. The children still mattered. I arranged to see them through my parents after things calmed. I paid into their education accounts directly. I sent birthday gifts. I never spoke badly of their father to them, though some days it took holy strength. One afternoon, my nephew asked, Aunt Serena, did Daddy try to take your house? He was 8, too young for adult greed, old enough to hear whispers. I knelt and said, Daddy made a wrong choice about something that belonged to me. Are you mad? I was. Still? A little, but I love you. He hugged me. That helped. Marcus apologized 14 months after closing. Not at my house. Never at my house. At a park. He looked thinner, less shiny. Life had made him sit with himself, and apparently the conversation had not been pleasant. I was wrong, he said. I waited. I didn't see it as stealing then. I saw it as finally getting something I deserved. That sentence was ugly. Good. Truth often is. Deserved because? He looked at the grass. Because I had kids. Because you had money. Because Mom always said you would be fine. Because Dad never stopped her. Because you always helped before. He looked up. And because I was jealous. I said nothing. He continued. You bought the kind of house I wanted people to think I could buy. Tasha loved it. I loved how she looked at me when I told her it might become ours. I wanted to be that man. The man who steals from his sister? He winced. Yes, apparently. I almost smiled. Almost. I'm sorry, he said. For the title thing. For Brian. For the loan. For calling you selfish. For using the kids. For acting like your dream was less important because it was yours alone. That last sentence loosened something. I hear you, I said. Can I ever see the house? I looked at him. No. He nodded quickly. Okay. Maybe one day. Not soon. I understand. Maybe he did. Maybe he was learning. The house became my sanctuary. Not instantly. At first, every room echoed with the conflict. The kitchen remembered my mother's voice. The patio remembered Marcus's hands on the door. The hallway remembered Tasha's inspection. But slowly, I filled the house with myself. I painted the office deep green, bought the yellow couch everyone told me was too bold, planted lemon trees, hung art from local women artists, turned one bedroom into a library, turned another into a guest room for friends who never asked to move in. I hosted dinner parties with people who brought wine, laughter, and no entitlement. I walked through the rooms at night barefoot, learning what peace sounded like when nobody was demanding it be shared on their terms. On the first anniversary of closing, I invited my parents for lunch. Not Marcus. Not yet. My parents arrived with flowers. They knocked, even though they knew the code was not theirs. Good. My mother walked in slowly, like entering a church. The house looked different now. Mine, unmistakably mine. She touched nothing without asking. My father admired the lemon trees. During lunch, my mother looked around and said, "This house suits you." I smiled. It always did. She nodded, tears in her eyes. Yes, I just refused to see it. That was enough for that day. Another year passed before Marcus came. He came alone first. Then later with Tasha and the children. At the door, he stopped and looked at the keyless lock. "I don't know why I thought I could just take this," he said quietly. "Because everyone taught you my no was negotiable." He nodded. "Thank you for changing that." I let him in. Not because he earned full trust. Because I had regained full ownership of myself. There is a difference. Tasha apologized too, though it took effort. She admitted she wanted the school district, the address, the photos, the status. She admitted she had imagined hosting baby showers in my backyard and letting people believe the house was theirs. "I was embarrassed by our rental," she said. "Your house felt like rescue. It was not available. I know that now." The children ran through the backyard. They loved the lemon trees. My niece asked if she could pick one. I said yes. She asked first. That mattered more than she knew. Years later, people in my family still speak carefully about that time. They call it the house situation. I call it the theft attempt. Not to punish them forever, to keep language honest, because the words matter. They did not misunderstand. They planned. They did not hope I would help. They tried to alter paperwork. They did not want what was best for the children. They wanted my dream to become Marcus's collateral. And I caught it before closing. That is why I still tell women, read everything. Keep copies. Know your documents. Choose your title company carefully. Do not let family attend important appointments if they do not respect boundaries. Do not share access codes casually. Do not confuse secrecy with protection, but do not confuse openness with obligation either. And when someone says it's just family, listen closely. Sometimes that means love. Sometimes it means they expect you not to defend yourself. My parents gave my $1 million dream house to my brother. Then I caught the real plan before closing. And what I learned was bigger than real estate. I learned that some people do not hate your success. They hate that your success has doors they cannot open. I learned that some families do not see your dream as sacred until you put locks, lawyers, and consequences around it. I learned that being childless does not make your home available. Being single does not make your peace excessive. Being financially stable does not make theft less wrong. Being the strong one does not mean you exist to absorb everyone else's weakness. And being family does not give anyone power to sign your name onto their plans. The house stands now at the end of a quiet street, sunlight moving across the porch every morning. The lemon trees are taller. The yellow couch is still too bold. The office smells like coffee and paper. The guest room is full only when I invite people. The kitchen is peaceful. The deed has one name: mine. Sometimes I hold the original keychain Mrs. Daniels gave me. Future homeowner. The words make me smile now, because I am not future anything anymore. I am the woman who caught the plan, closed the deal, changed the locks, kept the dream, and finally understood that a house is not only walls and rooms. Sometimes a house is proof that your no can stand.